Live from our studios in Hastings and Grand Island, NBC Nebraska News at 5 starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Spencer Schubert. We start tonight with breaking news west of Cairo, where a plane had to maneuver an emergency landing on a local county road. Calls came in just before 4 o'clock this afternoon, and our very own Austin Miller is now live at the scene. Austin, what have you been able to learn about this scary incident so far?
Well, Spencer, there's not a whole lot of details right now. Emergency crews, as you mentioned, have been on scene here since about 4 o'clock this afternoon. The road here on North Bluff Center Road is closed. We're about a mile north of Highway 2, just outside of Cairo. I've been told that this plane had to make an emergency landing for some reason, and that the pilot that was on board is unharmed at the moment. Now, authorities behind me, as you can see, are working to remove this plane from the road here. Once that plane is removed, they hope to finish up this investigation and provide more information for us right now. But right now, there's not a lot of details. We'll hope to have more as this story continues. Reporting live just outside of Cairo, Austin Miller, NBC Nebraska News.
Thank you, Austin. It still feels like summer out there this afternoon, but is a rude awakening coming our way. Joining us now is Brandon Rector with the first check of that forecast. And Brandon, what's that near future looking like for us right now?
Well, Spencer, we talked about it yesterday that today we could see near record, if not record high temperatures, and sure enough, that has happened in some locations. Here's a look at some of the numbers. Many of us breaking 70, even got up to 81 in Hebron. Here are some locations where we have tied or exceeded the old record high. Hastings, new record high for today of 77. The old record is 74 in 1941. Grand Island, we tied a 120-year-old record. 77 back in 1896 on this date. That's what we reached today. And Lincoln shattered their record of 74 in 1953 by reaching 80 this afternoon. Here's what's on tap for us coming Friday. Much colder with highs in the mid-30s to low 40s. So we're talking about 40 degrees colder than we were today. Our winds are going to be north 25, 35, gusting to 45 miles per hour, making it feel even colder. So wind chills likely in the 20s for many of us throughout much of the day. Precipitation, we are still looking at a snow possibility, with some of us seeing some light accumulation. I'll let you know who's going to see that accumulation coming up. And I do want to mention that some of it could linger for a few of us anyway into the morning commute on Friday. We will break it down hour by hour for you, let you know when we'll see rain, when we'll see snow, all coming up in that full forecast.
Okay, Brandon, thank you so much. Well, with us possibly sliding into that snow this week, we were just curious to see how prepared the Tri-Cities are for that powdery white stuff. NBC Nebraska's Chase Howell is live in studio to tell us how one local streets department is gearing up for the fast-approaching winter weather. Chase.
Thanks, Spencer. The Grand Island Streets Department has been prepping for winter since early fall. They started updating their snow plan and having meetings with all emergency personnel to ensure everyone is on the same page. But it doesn't just stop there. This coming week, snowplow drivers will begin putting up snow fences, making sure that all salt bins are full, and a full look through of all snowplows will be done to prevent any breakdowns. And after the February snowstorm, the Grand Island Road Superintendent changed some policies, purchased extra equipment, and took away that it's not only up to the street team, but it's up to everyone to make sure the streets are safe and snow-free.
Sidewalk. If you could park off street when we're getting ready to plow residential streets, that's very helpful to us so we can get the road 100% cleared off.
Callahan also says clearing off your fire hydrant and checking your gas meter is extremely helpful. One thing she's also excited to use is a new snow plow they purchased that can plow on both the left and the right side of the streets. And today, Callahan not only got to sit down with emergency personnel, but also the National Weather Service to hear their future predictions for this weekend's weather. Spencer, back to you.
Thank you so much, Chase. Well, the one other thing this time of year brings, just as certain as snowfall, is holiday shopping. We're joined by Russ Batenhorst, who now visited with officials today, not only thinking about that holiday shopping, Russ, but exactly where you're planning on spending that money.
That's right, Spencer, and it's because they're looking at the big picture, like you might be doing your civic duty while you're shopping, that indeed you could be helping out the local government. Local business advocates and business people looked on this morning as Grand Island Mayor proclaimed next Saturday Small Business Saturday. It's part of an effort to get people to shop locally as opposed to online for holiday gift giving. Jensen says doing so helps on multiple levels.
A big piece of it is supporting the community. I mean, there's so many different layers of shopping local. So you have the business itself, you've got the employees, you've got, think about the rent and the overhead that you're helping to cover. Then there's the sales tax piece of it.
Jensen points out that one way to increase sales tax revenues for the city without increasing the tax rate would be added net sales, thus the added tax revenue. Sales tax revenues make up about 40% of the Grand Island budget. The other point of emphasis today was the fact that most purchases made online do not include local sales tax, thus hurting government revenues. We'll have more on that at 6 and at 10 tonight. Spencer?
Thank you so much, Russ. Well, drivers are going to have to hit the brakes on one local road now that the speed limit has been changed. And NBC Nebraska Shalika Powell is live in Hastings. Shalika, what should drivers be prepared to see down Baltimore Avenue?
Spencer, it's important that drivers are paying attention because they will now see speed limit signs from 30 miles per hour to 55. And this is a huge change for drivers because some of them say they drive 60 miles per hour down this road. And although we have the new speed limit signs up now, some people say they don't think drivers will follow them. The city of Hastings did a speed limit study on North Baltimore Avenue, from North Shore Drive to Laughlin Road. Since a section of the road is county area, both the county and city created the speed limits. Prior to the study, there was only one speed limit sign posted by North Shore Drive for 30 miles per hour. Although there weren't any speeding tickets given to drivers along the road, police say that there were complaints about speeding.
There's more and more residents going up on Baltimore Avenue, and some of them concerned with the speeds, and with it not being posted, could make it a 60-mile-an-hour roadway maximum by state law.
Captain Story adds it's important for people to be aware of the changes and follow the new speed limits. Police say they will be keeping an eye out on this area for enforcement purposes. Reporting live in Hastings, Shalika Powell, NBC Nebraska News.
Thank you so much, Shalika. Well, testimony now in the sentencing hearing for Nico Jenkins has wrapped up. Now his fate is in the hands of a 3-judge panel. The panel had been scheduled to spend most of the week hearing evidence in the case, but prosecutors wrapped up yesterday after presenting 4 witnesses. Those witnesses included 3 of Jenkins' carjacking victims and a detective who took Jenkins' confession on August of 2013 and the murders of 4 different people. Against his attorney's advice, though, Jenkins also took the stand. Prosecutors are seeking to prove several aggravating factors that would allow Jenkins to be sentenced to death. The final decision, as to whether Jenkins will get life in prison or the death penalty will come at a later date. One local Nebraska sports team was having a little fun for Thanksgiving holiday, and we bring in our very own Justin Beagle now with the latest. Justin, some Danger football players in Hastings, is that right?
That's right, Spencer. The Danger football team actually was at Mary Lane Hospital today, giving out all sorts of souvenirs to these sick children, basically spreading joy to everyone they encountered. A handful of patients we actually see get these signed footballs that you see right in front of me. Some would also pose for selfies with one of the Danger players, and it was all a touching gesture that certainly made some people's day.
I loved it when they first come. It was just packed over there. These guys are awesome.
Just wanted to put a smile on some people's faces today, handed out some souvenirs, and just wanted to give them support like they give us support. Bringing them excitement and brightening up their day and just bringing a little sunshine.
At 6, we'll hear more from the Danger as they visited Mary Landing. Now, Spencer, I actually got one of these great souvenir footballs. Used to got signed by Darius, and I'm going to hold this around and strike my Heisman pose every once in a while.
Yeah, I think that's just another thing you're going to do in your studio. But they didn't only visit the older patients; they also hung out with some kids in the pediatric wing as well. Right?
They did as well. Those kids probably had the brightest smile on their faces. They're playing Madden and all these kind of games, and all of a sudden they're saying, "Well, a football player is standing right in front of me in the hospital bed." This one little kid holding, he probably had the biggest smile I'd seen.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Justin. Well, we continue now straight ahead as snow removal becomes a question in the Tri-City areas. The future here in the Tri-Cities. We take a look at that full forecast with Brandon next, and later on in the show, one of the benefits of the nice weather we've had is the opportunity, Justin, to play golf. We'll show you how one family of golfers is taking advantage of that. Stay with us.